Hi, my name is Pat Donovan.
Hi Pat, and thanks for offering to do this interview today. So starting off with the questions, where did you live before Marville?
We lived in Ottawa. My dad was working, he was in the Army and he was working for the post office, downtown Ottawa.
Okay. And where did you first, can you remember when you first heard that you're going to be posted to France?
Yeah, it was about 4 months before we left. We had been to France for 3 years before that, and when we heard the good news, we were very happy to hear it.
Oh, it was interesting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had been to Metz for 3 years before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we were in Ottawa for a year and a half, and then we got transferred back to France.
Wow. So you had lived in Metz for 3 years as a child?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So tell us a bit about your family. There's your dad and your mom, and who else? Anybody else?
Yeah, there was 4 kids. My older sister Nikki, my brother Garnet, myself, and my younger sister Giselle.
Okay, and you all went over the second time together?
Yeah.
Okay, when you flew out, where did you fly out of?
Trenton.
Trenton, okay. On the Yukon?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, this good old Yukon. I'm looking for one, if you know what anyone is.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I remember when we were coming back on a Yukon, though, we just got to the east coast of Canada, and 2 of the engines had gone in the aircraft. And the captain came on the radio and he said, "We have 2 engines gone, but don't worry, this aircraft can fly on 1 engine." Which wasn't all that encouraging.
Okay. Well, we're not worried.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But anyway.
Okay. So you guys were happy, so you had a good time in Metz and you were to go back there.
We were very anxious to go back, yeah.
That's great. And so where did you end up where did you live? In the PMQs or on the economy? Or?
We lived in PMQs for the whole 4 years in Marville.
Okay. And which block were you in, do you remember?
We were in B block, number B42.
And how many bedrooms did you guys have? I think we had like 2.
We had 4 bedrooms.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
There was a master bedroom, bedroom my brother and I shared, and my 2 sisters each had their own bedroom.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice place.
Yeah.
What do you remember about the PMQs that comes to mind?
Well, I remember they were cold and damp.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Oh.
And it was, and there were the basement locker areas that you had to walk through sometimes.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and you know, it was okay. It seemed a little bit dingy and dark and damp at the time to me.
Especially the bottom floor.
Yeah.
Do you remember the carburetors, the lid?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I do remember that.
Use them for firecrackers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, firecrackers was a big thing over there back then.
You remember those?
Yeah, we had strikers too, yeah. Yeah, they were amazing. We'd take a striker and strike it and then put a tin can over the top of it. And the tin can would go almost out of sight.
I think they sold those at the pharmacy downtown.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to ask for them. They were under the counter, and you had to ask for them.
Yeah, we went in there, my friend and I. Also got a switchblade there.
Yes, yes, we did buy a couple of switchblades there too, as well. Yeah, I remember.
Mine until I got swiped from me.
My dad found mine and took it away from me.
Oh.
And when I turned 40, and I was 12 when he found it.
Oh.
When I turned 40, he gave it back to me.
Okay.
He still had it.
You reckon that you could handle it now?
Yeah.
So the PMQs, did you play any sports around there?
Yeah, we played baseball with Little League and I think it was called the Babe Ruth League.
Okay.
Hardball. And, you know, we played floor hockey all the time over at the school on the PMQs there.
Right.
And we were always playing football out in the yard, and we swam competitively too, because there was swimming on the base. We did track and field.
All around the PMQs?
Some of it was on the base. We had tumbling, trampoline and stuff like that, and we had to do that on the base actually, not at the PMQs.
All right. How about it's a funny subject, but how about the weather?
Yeah.
Well,
in a way, it was good because it rarely ever snowed.
That's right, yeah.
And I liked that part of it, but it was damp.
Yeah.
It was a damp climate, for sure.
Did you guys use those kerosene heaters?
We had them. I think we called them Aladdin heaters in those days.
That's right, yeah.
And they burned kerosene, and supposedly they were safe to burn we had them in our bedrooms at night, and we would burn them all night. Oh. And we'd go to school and we'd smell like kerosene.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed that nobody gets snuffed. Because,
yeah, I wonder about the fumes even today, whether that was bad for you or not, but most of us are still here, so.
Maybe because because of the bad construction, maybe there were air pockets.
Yeah, right. It's the only thing that kept us alive.
Living in a trailer with air pockets.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so, the last year for me in Marville, I couldn't get shoes my size.
Yeah.
And I wore sandals.
Right.
And we were like, I was happy there was no snow, just mud and wetness, like you said.
Yeah.
How about friends around the PMQs? Remember any people you?
Oh, geez, yeah, there was lots of friends there. John Cruikshank was a guy I knew quite well. Dave Forsyth, geez, I could list quite a few of them, but you have to really try to recall them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Any crazy instances like it was Marshall? No, David Lowry was telling me he fell off there was a quarry which I knew.
Yeah, we used to go to the quarries. There were 3 quarries.
Right.
Yeah.
And he fell off there and cracked his head. What did you do down there?
We used to go down there to light off firecrackers.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a cave in the quarry that went way down into the earth, and we used to kind of go down there as far as we had the courage to go, and then it got pretty dark, so we'd turn around.
Yeah.
But we'd just go there and hang out and smoke cigarettes when we weren't supposed to, and stuff like that.
Didn't they have? I guess that was in the base there. They had a movie. I guess it was a base rec center where they had teenage movie time. They showed movies. Yeah. All the teenagers just went and watched.
Yeah.
The Pink Panther.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And we had a teen club there at PMQs as well, and it was really nice. You could bring your own records in, and there was nice lounge chairs to sit in, and it was really quite nice for teenagers.
Yeah. Well, we were only there for, I can't remember how long we were there for. Maybe less than a year. We had a maid for a while, a French maid. Did you guys have maid?
No.
No?
No.
My mom, I don't know, I think my dad insisted on it.
Wait a minute now. We did have a maid for a while that came in about once a week.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And did cleaning in the house. That's right. Yeah. I forgot all about that. Yeah. Yeah, we did.
When you left, the last weeks when you were there was a big cleanup of the PMQs. And I heard the story where the military, the boys on the top there, said all the women, all the housewives had to clean the pots and pans and everything.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah. Did you see your mom doing that?
I don't recall anything like that, but I do remember. See, when we were leaving France in '67, we were asked to leave by de Gaulle, Charles de Gaulle.
Yeah.
And Charles de Gaulle was warming up to the Russians pretty good at the time, and it was rubbing us the wrong way. And so he said, well, then you guys can get out.
Yeah.
And so when, at least on the base part, I know that they plugged all the toilets with cement.
Well, that's right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, the Americans did the same.
Because they were pissed off, and they plugged all the toilets up with cement. Yeah.
And I also hear in the Americans, they drilled holes in the barracks where the wiring was, and snipped it, and then painted it over again.
Really? I didn't know that.
They had a good golf course there, in Verdun, and they rolled up all the greens and shipped it back.
No.
Just a green.
Yeah, yeah. Cut them out.
Can you imagine? The French
Yeah, they.
all cemented, the greens are holes, and they can't figure out why the lights don't work.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
really-
They were not happy.
No,
Boy.
It was a mean trick, but
Yeah.
neither side, and the people who were the least happy were the people on the economy, because they were making a lot of money out of
Yeah.
food and the rest of it.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and cigarettes. You know, there used to be almost a trade in cigarettes. We had guys, French kids, that would come up to the PMQs looking for Canadian cigarettes, and we'd give them a pack of cigarettes. They'd let us ride their moped for half an hour or
So
something.
you had French friends.
A few of them, yeah.
Oh, that's good, because
Yeah.
I haven't, including myself, I haven't met anybody so far who mingle with the French at all.
Oh no, we knew a few French guys that would come around, and you know, mostly guys that were looking for cigarettes.
So you got your French lessons on trading.
Well, yeah, but we were in the French economy when we lived in Metz, so we did learn to speak a bit of French then.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Because my dad wasn't interested in it, my mum wasn't interested, so we never made any friends on the economy. And when I look back, I think that's too bad, you know, that
Yeah, it is too bad, yeah.
didn't make some friends that
Yeah.
would probably know them today, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we were in their neighborhood, so why not? But it was
Yeah.
like living on Mars.
It's true, it was isolated in many ways from the French people, yeah.
We were. I mean, except those people that went and lived on the economy, as we
Yeah.
call it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how about school? What were your thoughts about the school, like the teachers or the school?
Well, I thought the teachers were pretty good, actually. They maintained pretty much the same standard as the Ontario curriculum, because I came back to Ontario and really didn't, you know, everything was pretty much the same.
Okay,
So I thought the schooling was quite good, actually.
right. How about the teachers?
Teachers were good. We had good teachers, yeah.
I thought some of them were like...
There was always the odd one that wasn't that great, but
What I heard was, and I don't know if this is true, is that the RCEF was demanded to have the best teachers,
Yeah.
but they got the worst. But
well, I don't think that's true. Like, for example, we had a teacher in grade 9 over there, Mr. Matheson.
Oh, I remember him.
He's a very intelligent man,
Yeah.
and he ended up coming back here to Belleville and taught in a prestigious private school called Albert College. So
Is he still around?
I think he is, yeah.
Oh,
I think he is.
Knock on his door.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah.
strange character. We had him as a math teacher, and he did weird things like, I used to sit in the front of the class there, and him and I would have contests to see who get the paper
In the basket, yeah, yeah,
You know, they were a new batch of teachers.
They were.
Anderson,
yeah,
he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
He was the best.
yeah.
Now, do you remember Miss Calgary?
I do.
She was a beauty.
She was a beauty. Yes, I do. Yeah,
And you know, the women, our girls, had to wear long dresses.
yeah.
There were no mini skirts.
No.
And no long hair for sure, you know.
No, they still put their hair in curlers back then.
right.
Jeez.
And we were way behind time. But when she came into the class, the English, she taught English, right?
Yeah,
Well, I tell you, us boys, we were like,
it went pretty quiet.
yeah. The girls were angry, but us guys, like, holy smokes.
Yeah, yeah, she was a beauty, all right. Yeah,
Definitely paid attention.
boy. No, I think we had pretty good teachers, actually. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Sports. Now, you said you played baseball,
Played baseball, yeah, and did some swimming,
right?
and
They had that strange pool there on the base.
yeah, we used to go there almost every day in the summertime. There was a bus from the PMQs, take you to the base. It was free,
Right.
and we'd spend the whole day at the pool.
You know, I never knew the thing existed. I hardly went on the base at all except for school. And I never even knew it existed until the base was closing. And there was nobody around, and a bunch of us used to go there and just
Right.
use it every day,
Yeah.
because it's so hot in the summer.
Wow.
We'd prowl around the officers' quarters because there's nothing in there then. And
Yeah, wow.
we had our run at the base. We actually went every.
That'd be great.
That's the only time I learned what was going on the base is when everybody left. You know?
Well, I remember there was a dump there, And they used to have some old Sabre jets down in the dump, and we used to climb onto them and get into the cockpits of them and pretend we were flying them.
Were you ever with me when we were killing rats?
No, I don't remember that.
Tires and roll them down with the rats would.
Oh, yeah.
Wait till the cavalry catch them and spare them.
No, I don't remember that.
Like the kids from that book, Lord of the Flies. We also used to get the packets of blood, and we'd go up to the gun towers, those German towers that we built, and we'd watch for French cars for coming on the highway, and then we'd have somebody with old clothes that would spill the blood on them and have them stagger onto the road.
Oh yeah, we pulled a lot of stuff like that. We'd put a bunch of, I remember at the PMQs sometimes in the evening, we'd take a bunch of straw off the farmer's field and put a line of it across the road, and we'd have people standing on both sides like this pretending they were holding a rope. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And the cars would stop, and then we'd all run away.
Being with me doing that.
We got in trouble.
No wonder we got kicked out of French class. Did you have any girlfriends?
The odd one, yeah.
Any names you can drop?
Well, when I left, I was going out with Elaine Baker.
Elaine Baker?
Yeah, she lived in the trailer park.
Yeah. Didn't she? Was she short with freckles?
Short with freckles, yeah. A really cute girl.
Yeah.
And she went to Nova Scotia, and we came here to Belleville. And we kept in touch for a little bit, but really hard to keep any. Grade 9, grade 10,
I was terrible. I had these I had dreams of, I would only go out with the officers' daughters. Those two that belonged.
Yeah.
And they were totally untouchable. And if I couldn't go out with them, I wouldn't go out with anybody. I made a few girls cry too.
They were athletes, those two girls too, weren't they?
They could have been, but they were going out with LICs, they weren't
right.
High school.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so consequently, it was one of those movies, watching Pink Panther, where I first held hands with anybody. And so
wow. Yeah, that's where all the stuff would happen, right? At the movies. Yeah.
The Pink Panther. Those are good times.
They were good times, eh?
Lights off, and your first romance.
Yeah.
Your first touch of.
Your first feeling of the opposite sex,
I invited one of the girls at the PMQ, invited me into her place there where the parents were away, and I wouldn't go in there. I was quite immature, I think. I could have taken advantage of a few things and never did.
Probably a good thing.
Did you go to the teen dances on Friday night?
Oh yeah, always. Always.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Sometimes we'd have one of our local bands play there.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I forget the guy.
There was, the band I think was called the Faint Traces.
Okay.
And they were good too. But I can't remember too many of the names of the guys. Bob Jenkins was one of the guys who played really good guitar, but he wasn't in that band. He was in a different one.
Okay.
And yeah, those dances were a lot of fun.
They were, like with the girls over on one side.
That's
and the guys
right.
in it.
Yeah.
You had to be so brave just to walk across.
Yeah. And you'd feel like you were all alone walking across that floor,
You said no.
Yeah. You walk back by yourself, man. Yeah.
You're so brave going in.
Yeah.
That was terrible. But I don't think too many have said no, The girls.
No, the girls were nice.
They were nice.
It was a nice community. People were really good to each other in those days,
But sometimes I wish that it could have gone on because it was a different community.
Different culture altogether, yeah.
Now they talk about sending people to Mars. If they ever do that at Mars, where they have young people growing up in Mars, they're going to have a hell of a time, like some of us did, readapting.
Yeah.
It was just France and Canada, but can you imagine going to Mars and having to come back and readjust here?
No. Wow, eh? Takes 2 years to get there or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, just coming back would be a trip, so to speak. Holidays.
Yeah, we went to the French Riviera.
Okay, yeah.
And to Nice and Monaco and, along the south coast of France.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. We camped when we were there.
Yeah.
Met a lot of people. It was really a great time for us. Yeah, that was a really, really fun thing to do. We'd catch a lot of trout there. And they tasted so good, you know, right out of the water.
So the trout were imported from Canada? Or?
I don't know. I think they were from, you know, a local area, maybe up a little further north from where we were.
It's okay. Did you ever give thought to the fact that we were sitting ducks if there was a war?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You thought about that as a teenager?
Oh yeah. My sister was always fearful of some kind of a war or conflict breaking out while we were over there.
Oh, and she was a couple
She was older. She was 4 years older than I was.
Okay.
And she would worry about it all the time. And of course, we would be reminded by the air raids in the middle of the night, you know, when they'd put the sirens on and everybody's father had to go into work.
Right.
So, you know, that was...
I don't think I spent 2 minutes thinking about it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I was having so much fun running around the bush or something. You know, like, I do remember the gendarmes on the Harley Davidsons going by with their machine guns because they were supposedly communists.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about the radio, communist radio in English?
I did hear about it, but I never heard the broadcasts.
I never heard either, but I heard about what they knew everything.
Yeah.
Who had a baby and who...
Well, we had a shop teacher in Marville who was a civilian, and he was somehow he was taking pictures of the planes, and people were approaching him for the pictures.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember that, but there was something about that was going on. I think he actually got sent back.
Oh, he was dealing...
He was, I think, well, I don't know, honestly, but I know there was some kind of a suspicion that there were photographs being given to the other side.
Oh, okay. One day, Norman and I were typically fooling around, and we had those strikers.
Right.
And sometimes people park their car. The French, the gendarme school was down the way.
Yeah.
And they'd come and they'd park their car with their girlfriend and be making out in the car. Well, we found them doing that one day. And we crawled into the car with some strikers and let them loose. And when we ran away, you know, they had those ditches. And,
Yeah.
you know, and we were walking back laughing our head off, and this car came by, and the tires screeched to a halt, and the door flew open, and this guy came out, and he pulled out a pistol and pointed it at us. And we were like... And then he laughed and got back in the car and drove away, you know. So he was obviously...
He was a gendarme.
Yeah, that's right. We'd scared the shit. And he scared the hell out of us.
I'll bet he did. Holy cow. But I'll tell you, boy, they were not to be fooled with those guys.
Oh, because they were on patrol for those communists and supposedly hiding in the hills.
Yeah. And just in general, the French gendarmes had an awful lot of power. If you had one driving in front of you on the highway, you weren't allowed to pass him.
Oh, really?
He had to signal for you to go ahead.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Now I got a strange thing. When my mom passed away, I found this card, and I knew my dad talked about it, so I was aware of it, but I had never seen a card before. Those cards were called, I think, carte de jour, and the women had to carry, Canadian women had to carry them, but the Americans said that our women are not going to carry them, because those cards were issued by the French government, and they were carried by criminals and prostitutes. Yeah. But Canadian women had them.
I just saw that on Facebook the other day. I think Sheila Graham put a copy of one of those on the internet to show people.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Unbelievable, eh?
It's unbelievable the Canadian government would bow to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They should have told them to take a hike, you know.
Especially our teenage girls.
Did they carry them too?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's really disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they do that in the first place? Why
I don't know.
Some kind of ID, you know, military ID?
It was almost intended to demean them or something, you know.
You would think after the war that they would remember.
Be a little bit grateful to,
especially World War I.
Yeah.
For all those.
Yeah. Vimy Ridge.
Vimy Ridge is down the way there, and Plajong, or whatever it's called.
Passchendaele.
Passchendaele, it wasn't so far away either.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of a negative thing I can think of living in France, where that they actually insisted our women carry that. I didn't know the girls carried that.
Well, according to Sheila, she posted one on the internet, and the girls had to carry them too, apparently, for a while. I don't know if it persisted for the whole time.
Oh, okay.
But I think in the earlier days they did.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something else. When you left, so this is the third part. When you left, when did you first find out you remember, like, oh, we're going back to Canada?
Well, we all kind of found out around the same time because de Gaulle said for us to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so we knew that we were moving. Some of us were going to Canada, and some of us were going to Lahr.
Right.
It depended on how many years you had already spent in Marville.
That's right.
We were on our 4th year, so we knew we were coming to Canada.
Okay.
But that would have been about 4 months before we actually moved. We knew we had to go. Yeah.
Okay. So you were there.
Well, I used to collect war souvenirs, German helmets, you know.
Did you ever find anything like that?
Yeah, we used to find them in the bush a lot. Yeah, helmets, daggers, hand grenades. All kinds of war stuff. And I had a large collection. I must have had about 12 helmets and, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff.
We found helmets, but usually they were squashed.
Yeah, or rusted out so badly that, yeah. Well, we found a few good ones, and my father wouldn't allow me to bring them back.
Okay.
So I had to sell them all for pretty much nothing, you know.
I heard that John down at the bar had a fine collection of medals and things.
I'll bet he does, yeah.
I don't know if he still does now, but back then he did. All the barns were full of them.
I remember seeing them, but, you know, we were so young, they didn't really make a big impression at the time, you know, because you'd see a lot of medals on the base all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, but I'm sure they were pretty valuable items.
When I was helping jack up those trailers, because they were all being shipped out to the garbage or wherever they went, a French gendarme came by. I don't know why he chose, maybe I was the only guy around because there wasn't too many people, and he says, he had a 49 Harley Davidson for sale.
No.
And I bought it for 75 bucks. And I hid it behind Sanderson's.
Yeah, Eric Sanderson's.
Yeah, Eric Sanderson.
And Neil, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know Eric that well. The only thing I knew was that he beat me in the mile because there was this cross Canada thing.
I remember that.
And my time was 5:02 or something, and his was 5.
Yeah.
So I was the number 2 fastest guy there.
Yeah.
That's the only time I had a conversation with him. But I left the bike there behind his trailer because my mom would have killed me.
Yeah.
But she found out about it anyway.
Yeah.
And she said either you go or it goes. When I think back, I should have taken a bike.
49 Harley, boy, it was a pretty rare bike.
Now they're worth over 10 grand.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, more than that, I'm sure.
I've asked Pierre about that.
Yeah.
I told Pierre, if you ever see any of those hanging around in somebody's barn, let me know. You know,
Yeah.
because they're worth a fortune.
Yeah.
So when you came back from the base, sorry, you got posted back to Canada, so you came back to Trenton, right?
To Belleville.
To Belleville, okay.
My dad was posted to the armories in Belleville. He was in the army.
Yeah. In the army?
Yeah.
So he transferred?
He transferred from France to here, yeah.
Okay.
But there weren't that many army guys in Marville. It was mostly all Air Force.
Really?
But Postal Corps was always Army in the military.
I see.
So
here's a question for you. Why didn't you join the Air Force? Some did.
Yeah, a lot of guys did.
Yeah.
I just was not interested in that kind of regimented life at all. I was more independent.
Yeah, you had your own ideas.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Did you marry another Brat?
No, I did not.
No. You married a local girl around here?
She was a brat, but she wasn't a military brat.
Well, the final thing is, if somebody was to see this film, say 30, 40 years down the road, maybe they're in the military kid or maybe they're not, what message would you give to somebody about, like sometimes we think, we're thinking back about our past, what kind of message would you like to leave?
Well, I think it depends a lot on the individual whether that kind of life is going to be something that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
Personally, I would say that having been a military brat has definitely enriched my life. The travel and the large number of people that you meet, and you remember them from different bases and different times in your life.
Yeah.
And I'd say it was a blessing being in the military.
Yeah, that's what Marshall said.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah, in fact, everybody, well, three,
Really?
David and Marshall said the same thing.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. There are certain advantages to growing up in the same community all your life, and there are things that you don't get to enjoy. One thing is that you don't get to know your relatives very well.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And you have to kind of trade that off for the new experiences you're going to have.
And making and breaking
Yeah.
friendships.
That's a really tough part.
It is, especially
Really.
when you're, well, you're lucky because you were 3 years there
Yeah.
and you made friends, so maybe you knew them when you went back, or they're already gone.
Some of them I kept in touch with. Some of them I'm still in touch with.
Yeah.
But when you move, you make new friends. You start a new life. And there isn't as much time that you can allocate for people from the past.
Yeah.
So you just try to hang on to the ones that you were close to.
Yeah.
So.
That's right. Good. Well, thank you very much, Pat, for allowing the interview.
My pleasure. Thank you.